How much do you earn?
58.12 an hour.
Does that mean you lose a whole day of work, a couple hours of work? How much work do you lose?
A lot.
When you miss work caring for Adamaris, are you able to use any sort of paid time off?
No, ma'am.
The child is disabled. The disability was found diagnosed prior to the child's 18th birthday. $10,074.13 monthly.
The child support be determined with his old salary, not the new one that just went into effect at the end of March.
This qualifies for a modification. I'm sorry, how old is your child?
She just turned 18 on March 3rd.
And she's graduating in May?
No, she's in 11th grade.
Okay, so she still has a whole nother year. Just making sure
Yes,
we're not
ma'am.
doing something and
And
transferring a case a month.
she has special needs, so she'll be going to the 18 plus program.
The state would call Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Rodriguez, are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
How much do you earn?
Currently it's 58.12 an hour.
Okay. And how many hours a week do you work?
40.
Okay. Are you guaranteed 40 hours a week?
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever work more than 40 hours a week?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm salary based, so they only, even if I do physically work 48 hours, 52 hours, they only pay me 40 hours.
Okay, so are you paid hourly or salaried then?
So it is salary, but it's based on 40 hours. So like on my pay stub, it'll show that I'm getting 48.12 an hour, but it's only based on 40 hours.
And I'm sorry, I thought you said 58.12. Is it 48.12 or 58.12?
I beg your pardon, 58.12. So it's always gonna be based on 40 hours. I can work 10 hours, I get 40. I can work 50, I get 40.
Sir, do you ever receive bonuses?
Yes.
How are those bonuses calculated?
They're based on business KPIs, and they're, if they meet certain goals, then they'll give a bonus out to the employees, and they'll make a percentage, and that percentage they'll use the employee pay salary to calculate their bonus.
How often are the bonuses calculated?
Quarterly.
Okay. Have you received a bonus in 2024?
For 2023.
And how much was what was the amount of your last bonus?
618 with 61 cents.
I'm sorry, can you state that again?
618 with 61 cents.
Sir, how much did you earn in 2023 on your W-2?
I do not have that information. I don't have that information with me right now.
Do you receive any veterans benefits?
Yes, I do.
Are they service connected or not service connected?
Service connected.
How much is the monthly amount of those benefits?
171, sorry.
Do you have health insurance available to put your child on?
She's always been on health insurance.
Is that through your employer?
Yes, ma'am.
How much does that health coverage cost you?
It's about 200 and something, but for divided by 7, it's $34 per person. Bi-weekly, yeah.
The $34
bi-weekly?
Bi-weekly, yes.
And you mentioned people, is that how many people are on the policy
Yes.
altogether? Okay.
Yes.
Is one of those 7 your daughter with Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have dental available to put your daughter on?
Dental and vision.
How much is that dental cost?
It's $21. It's
that-
actually all together the $34.
So is that $34 a package price for both health and dental?
And vision.
Okay.
Used to be more on 2023, but they made changes on the insurance and on the, I guess, premium pay, like what we had to pay as employees.
And so you mentioned your bonus for was it the fourth quarter of 2023? That was $618.61.
Yes, which it was paid out on January 19.
And what do you recall the amount of your third quarter 2023 bonus?
I do not.
Okay. What about your second quarter 2023 bonus?
No, I do not.
Your first quarter 2023 bonus?
No, I do not.
How many quarters in 2023 did you receive a bonus?
All 4.
Okay. Are you expecting a bonus for the first quarter of 2024?
I will hope so.
Okay. Do you have any other source of income besides your employment and veterans benefits?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any other children besides Adamaris?
I do.
Under the age of 18?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is that child biologically yours?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a support? You have a court order to pay support for that child?
I'm married with his mom. He lives with me.
Did you say you are married to mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
All right. That's the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Velasquez, do you have any questions for Mr.
Yeah.
Rodriguez?
Yes, Your Honor, just to clarify a few things.
Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez, can you explain to the court what the KPI is?
Oh, it's called key points of interest. Is what the company believe that are the highest points of interest to focus on, and it'll be like customer satisfaction, yield, which is how much of the wafer is actually useful, expenses like how much chemical we use, stop loss is how much of the machines that we are actually using, or if they are creating a bottleneck, which is causing the product to get delayed. Different points of that the company sales that the company takes into consideration and creates certain goals to try to get the employees to do their best so we can actually get that bonus.
Okay, and to clarify, for the court, where do you work?
At Samson Austin Semiconductor.
Okay. And you stated that you got your last quarter bonus in 2024, correct?
Correct. January 19, 2024.
Okay. And I don't think I have further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Ms. Rodriguez, do you have any questions for Mr. Rodriguez to answer in the form of a question?
I just have questions on the other bonuses.
Okay, this is your chance to ask questions to Mr. Rodriguez. This is testimony.
Can that information be provided to the court on what the other bonuses were?
Is that a question for Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez, are you able to answer that?
I guess I could look for that information.
Can you provide that?
Not today. Yes.
I'm sorry, Ms. Velasquez, I couldn't hear you.
Asked and answered, Your Honor. Hold on.
I'm going to overrule the objection.
You can answer, Mr. Rodriguez.
Oh, yes, I could provide that. Not today, but yes, I could provide that.
Mr. Rodriguez, do you have any other questions for him?
I mean, if that can be provided, is that something that can be and this is a question, I mean, I don't know who will I be able to answer, but if that information is provided to the court, can that be something that will be considered, for the decision of the modification?
Everyone said they were ready to proceed today. So,
I mean, he was aware of the hearing. That's information that's substantial, for the case. It's something that his attorney should have prepared him for.
Your Honor, there was no discovery request that was sent out.
This discovery requests are included as form with the OAG pleadings, and Mr. Rodriguez was served with those on February 21st, 2024.
Correct, and per the instructions that he received, he was only supposed to provide the last 3 pay stubs and the W-2 statement, which we did provide. And I provided at least 2 updated one updated, sorry, pay stub for him. And sorry, Your Honor, to clarify for the court, we did not provide the 2023 statements. I don't have those, but I do have the W-2 that I can provide. So I do want to clarify that for the court.
what about the tax returns for the last 2 years?
No, Your Honor. When I received communication from the OAG, they only requested the paycheck stub and the 2023 income taxes, which I only have the W-2 for.
I'm looking at the pleading filed by the AG's office. I believe it's the one they were served with. It says income tax returns for the previous 2 years, including the same for a party's DBA or sole proprietorship, including Schedule C. If no return has been filed, then Form W-2, Form 1099, and Schedule K-1 for such years.
Correct, I see that, Your Honor. And sorry, I don't have a date on this pleading of when it was filed. Can the court provide that to me? I apologize.
The Attorney General's office filed this pleading on January 9th, 2024. And Ms. Laskowski, do you know when Mr. Rodriguez was served?
February 21st, 2024, Judge.
Did he have time to answer?
Yes, Judge. The answer date's passed.
I mean, Your Honor, there were no additional requests. I understand that my client did not fully comply with the request for production in the petition, but there were no additional follow-ups from the OAG to turn that over.
I'm having a hard time hearing.
Yeah, you're coming in and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was saying there was no additional request for production or deficiency letters that I have received. I understand my client did not comply with the request for production, but at this time, I mean, this probably should have been something to be handled before the hearing.
Ms. Laskowski, do you have anything you'd like to say in response to that?
Can they take a quick break to gather those documents quickly?
Have those documents available?
I'd have to check with my client, but he's shaking his head no. I just have to check with him, Your Honor.
I would have to use go to work and use my work computer to try to access those files.
The income tax returns?
For the income tax return, I will have to go to my house and get those income tax returns.
Someone may proceed. Mrs. Rodriguez, do you have any more questions for Mr. Rodriguez?
I mean, if I can have a minute to speak with Miss Valerie.
That's not typically how hearings work, ma'am. I've given everyone a lot of grace because everyone has taken some breaks during this hearing. But at some
I
point we
mean,
have
it is
ma'am.
hard. It is hard, I mean, we're talking about a girl that has, disabilities, that she has a lot of extra needs. And, they
Ma'am, this
were
isn't-
aware of the hearing, I mean, they should have been prepared.
At this time, Your Honor, I'm going to ask to proceed on the basis of a temporary order. So that Mr. Rodriguez and his attorney can return for the final order or for the final hearing, and be able to provide information on 2023 taxes and current income.
I object, Your Honor. We're ready for a final, and I believe that's how we started this hearing, as for a final. I'm just a little confused.
And mean, I've only just begun to hear the testimony. I did specifically ask if everyone was ready. This case seems to be evolving as the hearing goes on. It's kind of proceeded that way all morning. Honestly, I'm not going to rule yet on whether I'm going to do a temporary order or a final order. I'm see where the evidence leads. But when I ask if people are ready for trial, they need to be ready, everybody. So, Ms. Rodriguez, do you have any additional questions for Mr. Rodriguez?
No, I mean, just if they can provide that, you know.
Ms. Laskowski, do you have anything further from this witness?
No, Judge.
You may call your next witness.
All right, Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes, ma'am.
how is your daughter currently insured?
She has insurance through her dad, and she's also qualified for the MDCP program, you know, that also provides her with Medicaid benefits. Now that's based on disability, not on income. And it is something that has to be renewed every year depending on how she is doing.
What program is that, ma'am?
MDCP, it's a waiver, it's a Medicaid waiver program. She's been on the interest list since she was diagnosed, so she was on the interest list for about 10 years.
And Ms. Rodriguez, what kind of disability does Adamaris have?
She has different diagnoses, autism, epilepsy, and speech impediment. Intellectual disability are the main ones. She also has, you know, anxiety and sleep apnea.
What kind of care does Adamaris require?
All care, I mean, all care, you know, she needs help, you know, with administering medication, supervision, you know, due to her not being, you know, aware of danger or, you know, her epilepsy. She is currently, you know, having night seizures. So that puts, a little bit of a strain, you know, it puts more strain as far as, you know, I can't leave her, you know, with the same independence as she is at times, you know, because the epilepsy, it's very unpredictable. So there's sometimes she does great, you know, for a few months, and then there's moments where, you know, they spike, and then we see them, you know, more often. Right now, because she is receiving, you know, she's having the night seizures, I've been sleeping, you know, on the floor for months because, you know, she needs, you know, constant care. If she is having those seizures, you know, depending on, you know, what the campus has, there's some campuses that are a little bit more knowledgeable and they're able to keep her after she has the seizures. There's other campuses that don't. You know, they're having to call me, you know, to pick her up. So it is, it also gets in, you know, way of not just, you know, our life, daily activities, but also, you know, as far as work goes. Because I'm having to be called out for constant meetings, you know, by the school, whether it's for art meetings or, you know, evaluations, you know, her medical appointments, you know, also with the MDCP, you know, it's they require, you know, follow-ups, you know, meetings. So it is a constant care where it does take me away.
Do you have any assistance in caring for Adamaris?
Well, the
In terms of,
MDCP,
like paid help or anything like that?
the MDCP is supposed to be, you know, that kind of help. And we had help the first year, you know, when the pandemic happened, you know, we were able to have, you know, an attendant in the home for that full year. Unfortunately, you know, the hourly that they offer, it's not a livable wage. So after we lost that attendant, we have not been able to have another attendant. You know, so my mom is having to help me through periods of time, you know, for example, like, you know, spring break or, you know, the, you know, summer break, or if she is having, you know, a lot of medical care at you know, medical attention that she requires at that time, then, you know, my mom is able to, you know, come down and do some of those hours. But again, it pulls, you know, her from having to do her activities as well.
Is Adamaris able to be left alone for any period of time?
No, ma'am.
Is Adamaris able to drive?
No.
Will Adamaris ever be able to financially support herself?
No, ma'am.
Will she ever be able to take care of her own basic needs?
No, ma'am.
When was Adamaris diagnosed?
She started showing symptoms around 2 years old and got diagnosed at 3.
Was she diagnosed with all of her conditions at 3, or were they spread out?
Spread out. Initially, it was autism and speech impediment.
What kind of assistance does Mr. Rodriguez provide in caring for Adamaris?
The diagnosis was always difficult for him when we were married. I'm sorry. The diagnosis was, harder, for him. For me, I cried, one day, and then after that, I just focused 100% on her care, and he focused, on work, which, I appreciate, because at that time it left me the ability to 100% focus on my daughter and learn from the people that we had in our home. At that time, we were able to pay for, her having applied behavioral analysis for almost 40 hours a week. It is a very expensive, therapy that at that time insurance did not cover. And I applied for scholarships.
Are you talking about before the divorce or after the divorce?
Before the divorce,
if we
yes,
can just limit this to after the divorce, I guess, or I don't know, unless Ms. Laskowski, do you have a reason we're going behind?
It can give you a better picture of her care and how it has progressed, what, because again, initially she only got diagnosed with autism and speech impediment. And from there, other diagnoses came.
I do have an objection to that, since this is a modification, it should only take.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry. I do have an objection to that, since this is a modification, it should only take into consideration the stuff after the divorce, not before. I understand the child has had more diagnoses since, but it's a modification.
Ms. Laskowski, do you have a response?
No, Judge.
Sustain the objection.
Ms. Rodriguez, since the divorce in 2013, what kind of assistance has Mr. Rodriguez provided in caring for Adamaris?
Not very much. There's been, times where I have requested, that his attendance needed to be required. For example, there was her doctor wanted to do brain surgery because my daughter has had to have a lot of different medications, with none of them being 100% successful. She has had to have, surgery twice, for a vagus nerve stimulator, and it helped, but not to what we were expecting. So after, several different changes in medications, the doctor suggested doing brain surgery. We did all the testings, and when it was time, to make that decision, and for the doctor to go over, the test results, he didn't show up for that appointment. The doctor did, try to contact him. We ended up getting a hold of him. And they went over the entire information, with both of us. And afterwards, the only thing that we needed to make was the decision on the date. And he was nowhere to be found. The nurses, for Dr. Keogh, tried contacting him. They couldn't find him. He was not responding to messages. And then we found out that he had gone to Puerto Rico with his family. So we were not able to do the surgery. He does not have a close relationship, with our daughter. And, I have asked, for him to receive, training and training in ABA, and also, with a psychologist, because it is a lot, it is not easy, having to deal with, certain behaviors and things like that, they come with the diagnosis, but it is possible to reach, that calmness, to where you're able to enjoy, being around her and doing things with her, because I don't have any behaviors with her anymore. I have worked with her really hard. I have spent a lot of time, advocating for her to have, better services, with the school and to better help her. She is able to do a lot of things on her own. Unfortunately, she still needs a lot of support, because of the epilepsy, because of the speech impediment,
Objection, Your Honor. I believe this was asked and answered and narrative at this point.
It is a narrative. At this point, I'm not sure what we're answering even. Ms. Laskowski, can you continue to ask questions so that they can be answered? Sustain the objection. And I'm also not sure of timeframes for some of these things, just putting that out there.
Ms. Rodriguez, when were you trying to get Adamaris into surgery?
Probably about a year ago.
Okay. Does she still need that surgery?
She's still having seizures. It's still a possibility. But, we do, share, of course, custody and stuff, it's something that we both, need to agree, we are looking into doing, guardianship together. It's something that that I have, talked to him about as far as, continuing to, have, training and counseling, for him to better his relationship with our daughter, because it is important for her to have both.
When did you ask Mr. Rodriguez to undergo some training for in regards to caring Adamaris?
It's been talked about for, forever, but, in more recent times, because for me, it's either you're going to be part of it or you're not, and that's a conversation that I had. I'm going to say about, I had a conversation with him about maybe 3 weeks ago, in regards to the guardianship.
Okay. What about asking him to go undergo some training, like behavioral training, for working with Adamaris? When did you ask him to do that?
The most recent, probably about a week ago.
Okay. How many times have you asked Mr. Rodriguez to undergo training since the divorce in 2014?
I can't even count. It's been a lot.
Okay. Has Mr. Rodriguez ever undergone any of that training to your knowledge?
No, ma'am.
When was the last time Adamaris spent any time with Mr. Rodriguez?
Quality time, it's been months. I can't even remember. I mean, he has gone 8-9 months without seeing her.
Objection, Your Honor. I feel like these questions are going more towards conservatorship or possession and access, and not limited to the child support issues for the modification.
Ms. Laskowski?
All right, I'll withdraw that question.
I would like to answer that question if that's okay, Your Honor.
She withdrew the question, ma'am, so no, you cannot.
Ma'am, what kind of arrangements do you have to make for Adamaris when Mr. Rodriguez does not exercise a period of his visitation?
I have to request family to come and help.
Okay. Do you pay family to watch her when they come do that?
My mom does MDCP hours. That's also important to do, because if I don't use those hours, they can be taken away.
Do you pay your mother out of your pocket?
No, ma'am. I do when I have to get a babysitter that are not under the MDCP program. In order to do the hours, in order to do the MDCP hours, you have to register through a different agency that helps, manage those hours and budgets.
What kind of circumstance causes you to have to hire a babysitter that you have to pay out of pocket rather than your mother?
Well, when I have to, be at work and I can't find anybody to, when it's like a last minute thing, and I'm
So like
having
if,
to
so
work.
like if your mother, so are you saying like if your mother's not available, then you have to go to somebody that you have to pay? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
About how much do you have to pay let's just call it a private babysitter per month?
I haven't had to pay, for an entire month like that. It's been usually for,
Like a
for
monthly average, about how much do you spend on that per month?
right now I haven't been able to because I don't have those funds. So it's been, more like 100, but I haven't had to do that here recently because I don't have that extra money to hire. So I have to quit. I have to not go to work in those situations.
And does that mean you lose a whole day of work, a couple hours of work? How much work do you lose?
A lot. Because it's not just, like if she gets sick, it's also like if they call me for meetings at school, things like that, her appointments, MDCP stuff, everything that has to be related to her that requires my attention, it pulls me from work.
And
I'm sorry,
objection, not
what's your,
responsive.
I'm sorry,
Not responsive, Your Honor.
what was your question again, Ms. Laskowski?
How much work does she miss?
I'm gonna sustain the objection.
Ms. Rodriguez, about how many hours of work do you miss per month caring for Adamaris?
This last couple of years has been a lot. So, I mean, it pulls me, I'm able to work during the times that she's in school. So it pulls me sometimes, I'm gonna say for a month, you say?
About
Or
how many hours in a month are you unable to work because you're caring for Adamaris?
I'm gonna say around 15 to 20, sometimes more, depending on what's going on. It's
Are you paid, how are you paid? Hourly, salary?
hourly. Hourly.
How much do you make an hour?
50.
Okay. When you miss work caring for Adamaris, are you able to use any sort of like family leave to cover any of that? Pay any sort of paid time off?
No, ma'am. No, I'm not. They don't offer that.
Has to witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Velasquez, do you have any questions for Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes, Your Honor. How is Mr. Rodriguez included in any of the child's school paperwork?
Can you say that again? You're cutting in and out a little bit.
Is Mr. Rodriguez included in any of the school paperwork for Adamaris?
Yes.
Okay. And does the school have specific instructions to call you instead of him when there's a crisis with Adamaris?
Yes, because he is also there. But for like example, right now that we're going through different art meetings, I was aware that some information was sent over to him.
Okay, but you are the primary contact for school purposes, correct?
Correct.
You are aware that Mr. Rodriguez has a family, correct?
Correct.
How much are you wanting Mr. Rodriguez to pay child support?
What she's entitled to by law?
And how much is she receiving currently?
536 every other week. She has received the same amount since we got the divorce. It's never been modified.
Okay. So guidelines support is what you're asking for, correct?
Correct.
Based on all of his income?
And her needs as well.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Laskowski, do you have any further questions for Ms. Rodriguez?
No, Judge. No, Judge.
Okay, do you have any further witnesses?
No, Judge.
Ms. Velasquez, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Rodriguez, do you have any witnesses you would like to call?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to give everybody a chance to do a closing. Ms. Laskowski, would you like to begin?
Yes, Judge. The state would ask the court to modify current child support and order Mr. Rodriguez to carry health and dental insurance through his employer for the child Adamaris and give him $74 health medical insurance credit and dental insurance credit. And the state would also ask that the court find that the child is that the child is disabled. The disability was diagnosed prior to the child's 18th birthday, and the child requires an indefinite support past the age of 18 or graduation from high school. And the state would lastly ask the court to base current child support on Mr. Rodriguez's hourly wage of $58.12, 40 hours a week. That is $10,074.13 monthly. Tax-free income of $171 monthly. Service-connected veterans benefits, and including bonus figures with one child before the court and one other that Mr. Rodriguez is ordered to support.
Sorry.
Sorry?
Did you say bonus as well? I don't know if that cut out, so I apologize.
Yes, the state would ask the court to include Mr. Rodriguez's bonuses, quarterly bonuses in his income. The state would also ask the court to make this modification retroactive to the date of service on Mr. Rodriguez. So the state would ask the court to make this retroactive to March 1st, 2024.
May I give my closing, Your Honor?
You may give your closing.
Thank you. Your Honor, my client has been paying medical and dental support. He has no problem with that and will continue to keep the child on his health insurance, and so that is not an issue. We do request that the court give the credit for medical insurance when determining child support. We are asking, however, that if child support is based on, if the court is considering the bonus that he received in 2024 for his work in 2023, that the child support be determined with his old salary, not the new one that just went into effect at the end of March. Being that he received that bonus last year under a different wage. We are asking that the court give him, we do agree, that he does receive $171 from the VA. However, if the court is considering the bonus, then the VA amount should also be lowered to what he was receiving in 2023, which was $165. We ask that the court take all of that into consideration when making his decision, the wage that he was at in 2023 was 5103.
I don't believe I heard testimony on any of that. Okay, you may continue. I'm not trying to interrupt you. Pointing that out.
That is it, Your Honor.
Ms. Rodriguez, would you like to make a closing?
No, I would just, well, I mean, I would like for it to be considered, you know, his current hourly and last year's income, you know, as far as the bonuses goes. And, you know, for her, go ahead, ma'am.
No,
I don't think anyone spoke, ma'am.
Oh,
no.
okay. So yes, that's it, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to pause for a moment and do math. We have some numbers to work with. If anyone needs to go to the restroom or get some water, you may do so. I am finding that has been more than 3 years since the prior order, and the new child support amount will differ by more than $100. So I am setting child support based on gross resources of but $10,280.34 taxable wages, and I'm sorry, yeah, taxable wages, and $171 non-taxable wages. Combined, that equals $10,451.34. The net resources after deductions for taxes, as well as the $74 for medical and dental support, is $7,994.17. Giving him credit for one other child, using the 17.5% guideline, is $1,399 per month child support. I don't believe I can set support before all parties were served, so that will start May 1st, 2024. And I am finding that the child, Adamaris Rodriguez, does require substantial care and personal supervision because of a mental or physical disability, and she will be capable of self-support, and that disability exists and has been known to exist before 18. And so I am setting that support indefinitely, and I am ordering that Mr. Rodriguez pay court costs as billed by Galveston County on or before December 31st of 2024.
Judge, can I ask you to repeat the taxable wages once more?
$10,280.34.
Okay, thank you, Judge. I'm
This-
gonna get started on drafting this order. Y'all can return to the breakout rooms and I'll draft this order and send it out to everybody by DocuSign, and I'll follow up with you in a few minutes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The indefinite child support was set without my knowledge or my consent. And by the time I found out about it, I was being asked to sign the paperwork in front of the judge. I wasn't given any information from the Attorney General or either my ex-wife as to why it was set for indefinite child support. And from my understanding, the reason why they haven't is because there is no paperwork. Was that she wasn't able to give me that because there was no actual paperwork. That was something that the Attorney General had decided. So I'm trying to figure out, how does the Attorney General come to the determination that a child is medically unable to without a medical dossier or a medical examination, and then just determine that I'm on indefinite child support?